Hello and welcome to your very first video in English 10. I'm Miss Fremont. You've probably met me already. In fact, you can probably see me from where you're sitting right now. But hey, you've got me on your computer screen too. So in this first video, I want to welcome you to English 10 again. And generally, I want to give you an overview of what the course will look like and what is Modern Classroom, the system that we'll be using. Now, some of you may have used Modern Classroom before, and some of you may have never heard of it, but here's a general definition. Modern Classroom is a class where teachers use instructional videos, like this one, instead of lectures, so students can move at their own pace, getting help when needed, and moving to the next lesson after showing mastery of the content. So generally, there are three main parts if we break this down. The first part is the blended instruction. Students access new content through teacher-created videos. So you'll be using both technology tools like these videos and your in-class paperwork. The second piece is the self-paced structure. Students learn at their own paces within each unit of study. Not everyone's going to be in exactly the same place at the same time. If you are just super on top of a lesson and you're ready to move forward, you'll be able to. And if something's new to you and you need to take a little more time with it, you can do that too. And our last piece is mastery-based grading. Students progress from one lesson to another when they demonstrate mastery of the main concepts. So what about in our day-to-day class? What does that look like? We've got a pretty simple daily routine. Every day, you should start class at your assigned table. So when that bell rings, be seated at your table and ready to listen to our class announcements. Then you'll check the pacing tracker and the whiteboard calendar to see where you're at, and more on that pacing tracker later. But the majority of class will be work time. You might be doing something in the packet, completing a Schoology assignment, maybe you're doing a mastery check, or we're doing a full class activity altogether. But generally, you'll be working on whatever you need to. The course is designed so that if you use your class time effectively, you should be able to finish all of your work and not take any of it home. The flip side is that if you don't use your class time effectively, it'll be on you to figure out when you're going to make up that time. And at the end of class, a few minutes before the bell rings, we'll wrap up, relax, and get you ready to go. You really don't need that many materials for this class. The most important is that you have your Chromebook with access to Schoology. If you don't have a Chromebook on a certain day, you can get a loaner from the Media Center, but try to have yours charged and ready to go each day. You'll also want headphones for videos like this one. You can use your own, or we have some in the classroom that you're always welcome to borrow. And finally, you'll want your unit packet, and depending on the unit, you might have a book as well. So make sure to bring those three things to class every day, and everything else you need is here in the classroom for you. We'll be following the district's personal technology guidelines, so this should be the same as all of your other classes. All personal technology devices, like phones, smartwatches, etc., must be away during class time. Once the bell rings, they should be out of sight. Repeated violations may lead to consequences, so please put those phones away. You won't need them during class, and if there is an exception, I will make that very clear and let you know when you can get your devices out. But in general, once the bell rings, they should be away. You're wondering, if people are at different places at different times, how do deadlines work? Well, there's two types of deadlines. The first is target deadlines, and these are basically suggestions. These let you know where we expect you to be in the unit on certain days, so you can see if you're pacing yourself well, if you maybe need to work faster, or if you've got extra time and you can either dig in more deeply or just relax. On the other hand, at the end of units, There will be hard deadlines, and these are firm, all work must be turned in by the hard deadline. I'll always make those really clear on the packet and in class, so make sure you pay attention to those, because if you don't get your work in by the hard deadline, you don't get credit for it, and you'll have to try again on the next assignment. The easiest way to tell what the deadlines are is to use the pacing tracker, which I mentioned before. This is linked on Schoology, and I'll usually have it displayed at the start of class as well. I'll show you an example on the next page of what it looks like, but it's generally a tool that will keep track of where you're at and what you should be working on. One key thing to note is that you can only get credit for the summative at the end of a unit if you have finished all the mastery checks by the hard deadline. So again, those hard deadlines are really important. Make sure you're ready for them. So the pacing tracker looks something like this. You'll see everyone's name, including your own, on the left, and it'll show you what part of the unit you're working on. You can also see lesson by lesson what you've mastered, what you're working on now, and what you have to revise if you're going back to edit your work. The pacing tracker can show you what you're working on, and it can also be used to find someone else in the class that you might want to work with, either because they're on the same lesson as you, or because they've already mastered it and they can answer your questions. So at the end of each lesson, you'll have a mastery check. These will come at the end. The packet will let you know when, to show that you fully understand the material. You'll take the mastery checks in the mastery zone, which is the red table in the center of class. When you're ready for the mastery check, you can bring your notes to that table and get the mastery check you need. You have to do mastery checks silently and on your own. So when you're sitting at that table, you should be focused just on your own work. But you're always welcome to use your written notes. You can't use your Chromebook or phone or any other devices, so make sure that everything you need is in your head or in your notes. You can't fail a mastery check. You'll either pass it and move on to the next lesson, or you'll need to revise it, and you'll review your notes, review the lesson material, and retake it until you show mastery. These are formative assessments, but as I said before, you have to master every single mastery in order to be eligible for the summative at the end of the unit. So that's an overview of Modern Classroom. In general, you'll be coming in each day, seeing where you're at, and working on what is most useful for you, using videos like this one and the resources in the classroom. So for right now, make sure you've finished the notes for 0.1 Step 1 in your packet. And if you have any questions, well, you've got a table of students, and you've got me ready to help you out. I'll see you in the next one.